Well, dang, people, what's up? Um, this day ain't even good, but it's the reality of it, and the way it came down, hearing about David Crosby, the first mention of it seen publicly was like Yahoo News or some kind of financial news, and then you look closely at the page and it's full of all this bunk. And then I could only find that at first, but then I saw the second post, and so I thought to myself, I went ahead and moved on it. Someone even posted it in comments on my earlier video today. And then it seemed like, well, maybe I was hasty and retracted everything, and then sure enough, it hit the news. David Crosby has passed away, 81. And I'm showing this album. If I could only remember my name. Let me make sure I get it right. If I could only remember my name. This album was ahead of its time, as well as being an album of its time. And David Crosby, as you know, goes back to the Byrds and before that, and well-known personality, cantankerous to some people, but just basically himself. A strong ego, very strong ego, but a lot of talent. Wow. Phil said it. Other people have been saying it. It truly is the feeling like the end of an era. And it is true because of age. I mean, it's like we're at the point now where the main people of our lives, my generation, which was like a golden, amazing, time in music. We're at that age, 60, 70, 80. 70, 80 is really what the deal is, some of the greats, and we even have folks who are still around in their 90s, and they're still around, which is nice, and we even forget, don't even want to say no names, hoping they just can keep living. So, David Crosby, I love him and his work, his voice, his writing. This album, if you know it, it's a total classic. It's got like the whole of Laurel Canyon, California on it. Plus, it's ambient, it's rock, it's just really an amazing album. But that's not the only one. That's one that David Crosby. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. I don't no longer have the first album on vinyl. I used to have them all. Got to see them live. I've talked about it. I saw them in the 70s down in Texas. Beach Boys opened, and so did the Youngbloods, Jesse Colin Young and the Youngbloods. And it was an amazing show. This album, which this is an original, obviously, because the paper, this whole story about the making of this is in a documentary, I think with Henry Diltz, is where I saw it. When I managed to have and then lose and then get another copy of. Teach Your Children, he didn't write that, Graham Nash did, but Almost Cut My Hair, that's David Crosby. But the whole mix, this music, what it means to history, my generation, what they were trying to do, even though they weren't trying to, they were just being real about, how events in life was affecting them, which made them in many ways spokesmen for a generation. In many ways, Four-Way Street. This album. This is a great live album. It's not one that is talked about these days, but back in the day, you heard this a lot. I heard it a lot. In homes, in people's lives, in my life. The words, the feelings, the attempt to be a bridge, because Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Young, these people to me did seem to me hopeful of a future where racism was on the wane, where these people seemed genuinely open to being just plain human beings and trying to move the whole picture forward. And David Crosby, right in the middle of the thick of it. Right in the middle and the thick of it. I've been following him on Twitter for quite a while now, and love. I've commented on his tweets. I think I've gotten a like from him at least once, because he tweets about all sorts of things. He's very outspoken and doesn't give a shit if you don't like what he has to say, and I love that about him. As I've said, we have opinions, for goddamn sake. Jeez. Don't have to be walking on eggshells just because you might think somebody else won't like what you say. The fuck with that. And I like that about him. And he regularly posted about weed, which I enjoyed as well. But if I'm not mistaken, I think he's got some brand new music either out or coming out this month. It's like, wow. Whew. So, just like the other day with my other beloved musician Yukihiro Takahashi, there's no reason to wait till the next day to make a video, just, because it's like, it's hitting me now. And even though I am very, as much as I can be, realistic about life and death, I talk about it, it still sucks. You know what I mean? It's the loss and then the the adjustment. It's like, oh, they're gone. They're gone now. It's an adjustment. And even though it's the wheel of life, it's always jarring in different ways, dealing with the passing of people. The passing of loved ones, the passing of revered ones, the passing of people who, through their art and music, have been a part and parcel of your life. Which is the case with these recent musicians who have passed away. David Crosby being another. I can still remember back the Byrds. There was the Beatles, and then there was Here Comes the Byrds with Turn, 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 and Hey Mr. Tambourine Man. It was obvious what was going on in retrospect, but at the same time, when I, head check and just my vague memory of how I received it at the time as a kid, it was like, yeah, this is what's happening. This is like really good. And this is new. It was like, and then bringing Bob Dylan even more into the mainstream through McGuinn and Crosby and the guys in the Byrds. So I don't have my Byrds albums, I don't think I might have one, but it's out in the other room because my ABs are out there, so I'm not going to go and look. But all this music is just so important to my life. It's been been one of the better focal points with regard to events in life. There's family and there's friends and there's the events that we, have and go through, traveling and all sorts of things, different things that we experience. But music throughout all of it is a central factor, continues to be. And so the passing of these important musicians and artists is, it's the thing to be dealt with. It's, dang, David Crosby's gone now. And that's what I was thinking, shit. Jeff Beck, It's like, there ain't no more Jeff Beck. You know what I mean? Can't nobody play like that. And it's like, I've been watching the videos, and it's so alchemical the way that his hands on the guitar, and you're watching it, and you're seeing this sound pour out, and it's like, how does he do it? You know? And then the thing that I've been saying, that I've been picking up, especially through social media, you know, Takahashi was a legend, and to me also here, but in Japan and in the lives of people besides me who know his music, huge loss. Very, very a big presence in music, you know, in Japan and in my life. And then now David Crosby, another huge presence. I saw Crosby, Stills, Nash Young once back in the 70s. I saw Crosby, Stills, and Nash later in the 80s, I think. I'm not good with dates like that. And then I saw CPR, David Crosby with his son. I saw that. And that was, I have the CD, but it's like I can't access it. It's not in a rack. It's so much music. And was that good? And that was cool. It was a cool show. And the other part of it was how they were sharing how the reunification, because again, that was a son that Crosby, you know, seeded, and then he was not even part of the young man's life. And then they were able to connect. Good music. So, I don't know what else to say except I'm feeling the loss. And it's unfortunate that there's no reason to draw the parallel between all the evil people that just seem to just go on and live on and cause mess, and we're losing all these just special messengers of light and information. That's what I call artists, and that's painting the broad stroke. Art and music, it's all so important to the technicolor of life. So rest in peace, David Crosby. I've said enough, I think. Okay, dang, I'm going to play some music now. Can't play it in the video with you, but I'm going to start playing it. Wow, this is deep.